Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Tech Tuesday. It is December 1st, and we are heading into the end of the year. And I think the biggest change for me, as well as Tosca, in the last year hasn't just been the onset of AI, but the onset of AI as more than just ChatGPT. Now, as we all know, AI can be used for gathering data insights, for learning more about your target market, your customers, for learning more about how you should market your business, and the best ways to use these tools with other tools like School and Meta Ads and so forth. And I want to talk to you a little bit today in Tech Tuesday about Base 44, which is a platform for vibe coding, which the term vibe coding has been knocked around for about a year now. Essentially, it's using AI to help you code if you don't know how to code very well. And I'll get into what that means if you want to try this out. Just for a moment, I want to talk about a couple of apps that you may have seen from DreamTech over the last couple months that I've been using Base 44 to develop. One of them, actually, I'm going to go over here, is the Muse app, which, as you know, if you're in Launch Lab, is helping you build your knowledge base so that you can effectively create content and have it connect to all of the things that you already know about your offers, your business, your customers, testimonials, what they say, what your customers say, what they like, what they struggle with, so that everything that you create can consistently come from the same source of truth, so to speak. So we created Muse as an easy way for everyone in our membership to be able to do this. This plugs in directly to the Meta Ads Mastery Program, which will be coming out in 2026. But of course, you can use this for anything. But what I wanted to talk about today was more how Base 44 actually enables you to be able to do these types of things. So it actually lets you, go out and scrape your website and look at information that you've already created so you don't have to retype all this information. You actually can just enter in your about page, and if you give it a moment, it will actually go in and look at everything on your page and find information and pull it into the application so you don't have to manually type a bunch of things, which is super cool. So you actually can grab all this information about the school. It'll even find a short description that it will create itself. It'll find testimonials on the page. It'll look at the benefits and understand sort of like who your target audience is and kind of get it started for you, which for all of you is super helpful as you move through this. And we want you to use this app. We want to make it as easy for you to use as possible. So what I'm doing right now is I'm simply going through and adding all the information I can possibly add about my school so that when it goes to make new ads or new content, it knows everything it can about my business. And if you've seen this before, sorry if this is kind of reiterating things, but basically once it has all this information, it will actually go out to the web, look on different websites, different communities, where it thinks it might be able to find the voice of the customer, and then it'll actually create a bunch of training data. And this training data is now stored inside of your Muse app. And this is training data I just created while I was talking to you. All this information is here. So now when I go to create, say, a Facebook ad, it looks at all of this information in order to sort of generate the ad content. And this ad content has been designed as well to focus specifically on what the Meta Andromeda algorithm is looking for so that when we copy and paste the description, the primary text, the headlines into Facebook Ads Manager, it actually has the right kinds of information to help the Andromeda application come up with its own versions that might help the ad perform better. So it even comes up with the proper school about page and other pieces of information that might be helpful. So this was all done in Base 44. This application is actually not sort of like a website or a customer facing tool. It's actually just a business tool that helps us move faster and quicker and automates processes that would be manual otherwise. And that's the kind of power, I think, in 2026 that I believe everyone here in the community can harness through Base 44. And we'll be teaching these types of things in our AI mastery class in 2026. I also want to show you another application that we're building, which is insights into the school itself, the school that we're all in. If any of you have a community as well, you know there's tons to know about your membership. It's super important to know what your members care about, what they struggle with, what other memberships they're connected to, so you can see if there's possible collaborations, or you can just learn from what other communities are doing. So these insights are super cool. And school just released some analytics, but I actually didn't think they went far enough. So I actually used Base 44 to create a much more intricate set of data points that we can look at, so that we can learn more about our membership, all of you, and be able to provide the valuable programs that we think that you would need based on the things that you struggle with, the things that you talk about, the things that we all have in common in the community that we're constantly talking about in our forum. We're able to sort of understand when people are joining, when they're active, what days and weeks and months people tend to be more active on the site, so we can plan our programming for you and know that people are on the East Coast, or they're in Europe, or they're on the West Coast. We're always trying to provide as much available time to everybody as possible. Also understanding, what programs people are paying for, which programs are free, understanding, the communities that we're all connected to, and what we all have in common, the size, the programming, the membership fees, all of those things help us and would help you as well as a school community to improve your business and your business model and the way that you connect with your membership. I want to show you both of these tools really quick, and I'd love to go into more detail into all of this data, but that's not really the point right now. What I really want to do is just talk to you about Base 44 as an application that lets you do these types of things. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go into Base 44, and I'm going to show you a little bit of how that works. So the Muse app that I showed you first, this is actually the behind the scenes creation interface, which works a lot like ChatGPT or Claude if you know how to do those types of things. On the left-hand side is sort of the chat room where you're actually talking to an AI agent. And then your results, the application you're building, is over here on the right. And so you can actually interact with your application. You can see how it's going to work. You can actually even load data and do anything that you would normally do if it was published live to the web. When you're ready to publish your changes, you can go up here to the top right and click publish, and it will push changes live to whatever URL you are hosting your application on. And it does a very easy way to let you do that, to host your application on your own domain and so forth. But over here, this actually lets you make changes to the app. You can do anything from design changes to functional changes. Let's say we wanted to add another angle to the types of ads. So we have testimonials and we have pain points, transformations. Let's say that we also wanted to have an ad that was about a special offer. I would like to add a fourth angle to the create ad page called special offer. This should allow me to include one of my promotions in my repository. So what I'm doing here is actually telling the Base 44 agent in plain English what I want to do with my application. I can actually go and discuss this before it actually implements, but what I'm going to do is hopefully this won't take too long, and if it does, we can speed it up. Sometimes it take about a minute, maybe 30 seconds to do a small change like this. And usually, unless it hallucinates, it will actually do a pretty good job of making this update to the application. And we can see how it goes, and if we don't like it, we can always revert it. So while it's thinking, let me just sort of explain that the way Base 44 works is that you buy credits, and the credits are, I think, perhaps $1 a credit, 50 cents a credit, I don't really remember. And then it will sort of just chew through those credits as it thinks and works. So the more complicated the thing is, the more it will use up credits, and it's not super clear exactly how that works or how they do that, but it seems like you get a decent amount for your money. You can build an entire application on a $100, $200 credit limit, which if you used to do what I do, applications like this used to cost $40,000, $50,000. So to be able to do this in the past would have taken time, money, remote teams, all kinds of things. But you can see here, it's actually just created this new special offer. It's even anticipated that I would want to include one of my offer objects. And so it knows that I have these created, and I didn't show you that I did that, but these were in my database. So it knows to do that. I didn't tell it to do any of that. It just sort of intuited what I was doing because I've been working with it on this app for a while. It actually will even go through and it knows how to generate an ad for it. It's thought through all of sort of the use cases, the edge cases. So, this is probably as good as of a demo as I could possibly give about how easy it is to add features and functionality to a, base 44 application. Now, it does go wrong quite often. There's always that chance, I would say maybe 5 to 10% of the time, where I give it direction and it comes back with something that is completely wrong. The designs changed, the colors have changed, the fonts have changed, the titles have changed for whatever reason. So you have to stay pretty vigilant with it right now. I think within a year, that's all going to completely change. A question that I get asked a lot about Base 44 is, do you have to have prior coding experience? Well, from what you just saw that I did, of course, you don't have to have prior coding experience. That said, everything that's being built here is being built from an object-oriented programming standpoint. So having some sense of how computer science, computer software works is super helpful. And I used to do that for a living. So I'm fortunate to have that background to understand how a database and data-based objects work together in sort of a many-to-many relationship. So for example, you can imagine an application has a bunch of users, and those users have pieces of data, and those pieces of data can also be applied to different applications, and those applications can be applied to so forth and so forth. So to understand the way those things relate helps you communicate better to the application when things get a little thorny. I think it helps a little bit more at the beginning. Once you sort of have an app up and running and you're just adding little tweaks and ideas, it's not as bad. And to that point, you actually can start from templates, and I'm starting to generate templates, basically starting points where people can build apps from. So one of the ones that I'm working on right now, if you're in the health and wellness industry, health and wellness coach, is a app template that is sort of the basic bare bones of an app that you could give your clients, that you could customize with the questions, the information, the goals that you want them to track, the way you want to interact with them, so that you could build your own app for your own clients and have that, sort of always on connectivity with your clients as they are trying to achieve certain health goals, wellness goals, and so forth. It's an idea I have based on some feedback I've gotten from a number of people. But again, the idea is that Base 44 is essentially, the sky's the limit. You could build any app you could really imagine as long as it was hosted on a website. You can't do sort of phone apps yet, but any sort of application or tool or system that you could use on a website, any data that you can see on a website could be used for your application as well. So yeah, the possibilities are, I wouldn't say endless, but there's a lot you can do here. And what I want to close on is, again, a lot of people say, well, I don't need an app. I'm just a wellness coach. I don't need an app. I'm just a graphic designer and I build websites. I guess that's a fair point if you think about apps from the standpoint of the way apps on the phone are. But applications don't just have to be for your clients. They can also be for yourself. You can build your own productivity applications, your own time-saving applications, your own data and insight applications like I was showing you earlier with the school data. information that helps you as a business not just move faster, but be smarter and be able to connect and engage better with your customers because you know more about what the right things to do are. So that's my spiel about Base 44. I'm loving using it. It's going to be a big part of what we do in 2026. So thanks for listening. If you have any questions, if you have more information about the vibe coding or the AI assisted coding that you've done in the past, I'd love to hear that below. There's a ton of other applications out there, and I don't think Base 44 is the only one in existence. So let me know if you've had experience with others, and I will see you on the school. All right, take care.